strongest exorcist in the world, is murdered by jealous members of the imperial court due to this incredible power, but he casts a spell of rebirth on himself to have a second chance on a better life. He awakens in an alternative world as a Seika in a clan of magicians, son of the noble Blaze Emperor, but he cannot use this world's form of magic. However, Seika has retained his exorcist powers and demon servants, but hides this from his family as he hopes to cultivate a happier life by becoming more cunning than his previous life. One of his brothers, Gray, bullies him as Seika was born from Pleas' mistress and can't use magic. His other brother, Luft, is kinder, but his only friend is the family slave Yifa. After learning about the Ludonia Magic Academy, Seika uses his power over the 6 elements to simulate magic power, so Blaze lets him study magic. Seika discovers that Yifa can use magic by commanding the spirits of nature, so he trains her in secret. An elder newt attacks a nearby city and rampages all the way to their mansion. In front of thousands of witnesses, Grey hides like a coward, but Seika kills the monster with a poison curse disguised as fire magic. Blaze offers Seika a reward, so he asks to attend Ludonia with Yifa. Grey protests that he was supposed to attend Ludonia. Blaze decides that Grey will instead enlist in the army. Luft is proud of Seika and gives him a pen as a leaving gift. Grey challenges Seika for the place at Ludonia, but is easily defeated. Seika is revealed to have cunning arrangement to this outcome by sending a demon servant to provoke the elder newt to attack. As Seika and Yifa depart for the academy, Blaze recalls Seika isn't actually his son, but his nephew, the son of his brother Gilbert, who disappeared in demon territory. Blaze has long suspected Seika's mother was a demoness, meaning Seika has potential to become the next demon king, though he hopes Ludonia will be the right environment to prevent this. With Seika now her owner, Yifa expects to join him in bed, but he shows no interest. At the entrance exam, Seika encounters Amiyu, a commoner girl with powerful magical abilities. Seika is surprised as Amiyu is identical to his apprentice from his previous life, who was pressured by imperial court into killing him. At the practical exam, Yifa and Seika outperform everyone except Amiyu, who scores highest with all 4 elements, plus light and dark magic, causing her instructors to suspect she is the next hero. Yifa is disappointed as she is expected to live in the girls' dormitory and won't be allowed to serve Seika or enter the boys' dormitory. Seika notices a dark magical circle on academy grounds and leaves several talismans to keep an eye on it. During the opening ceremony, the circle summons 3 laser demons to attack the academy. Seika slips away to confront the circle's creator, a devil named Gallius. Free of witnesses, Seika is able to freely use his exorcist powers and manipulate Gallius into revealing he is trying to kill Hero. Seika easily defeats Gallius, then feeds him alive to one of his demon servants, Mitsuchi the dragon. Seika finds that due to not having all of his old strength, Mitsuchi actually tries to kill him before being sealed away again. Ami kills the laser demons, but this only causes people to regard her with fear and mistrust due to her power. Seika is pleased by this, hoping that by becoming the hero's friend, he will stand out last compared to her and attract fewer enemies. Despite Seika's effort, Amiyu has no interest in being friends. Seika and Yifa narrowly avoid being doused in demon blood by clumsy teacher Cordell. Amiyu and Seika trip a magic circle trap and are transported into a nearby dungeon. Amiyu is knocked unconsciously by trolls, allowing Seika to freely summon a demon servant, the giant centipede, to kill them. Awoken, Amiyu is grateful for the help but reveals that she has a headache. Seika identifies this as potential fatal curse, which she transfers onto one of his talismans, saving Amiyu's life. After defeating the dungeon boss, they load a mithril sword for Amiyu and a magic ring. After returning to the academy, Seika secretly confronts Cordell. He is revealed to be a devil's servant sent to assassinate Amiyu with a demon blood curse. Seika uses the substitute talisman to reflect Amiyu's curse back to Cordell, killing him. Seika gives the dungeon ring to Yifa, confirming it increased the control over spirits. Amiyu returns to treating Seika coldly, becoming friends with Yifa instead. A whole year later, Seika, Amiyu and Yifa are best friends and there have been no further attempts to assassinate Amiyu. The academy principal asks Seika to participate in a combat tournament in capital city, along with a new student Mabel Crane. Amiyu is upset that she wasn't chosen, but principal insists on Seika and Mabel due to an ulterior motive. Mabel later provokes Amiyu and defeats her in a sword duel. He humiliating her. She also warned Seika that the tournament involves real combat, so participants frequently die. Arriving in capital city, Seika has his first match and defeats Mercury's swordsman Denise with a talisman disguised as wind magic. Joining Yifa and Ami in the audience, Seika watches a match between Balin, a student from another academy, and Kyle, a bodyguard from the Rock Merchants Association. The audience is horrified as Kyle mercilessly kills Balin, who makes no attempt to defend himself. With Seika's expertise in curses, he realizes Balin had actually been paralyzed by Kyle's cursed evil eye, making the killing even worse as the paralysis by itself was enough to win the match. Seika suspects Kyle may be a merchant's assassin. After Mabel wins her first match, Seika is intrigued when the audience begins to refer to Mabel as the hero. That night, Seika captures a demon's human spy and interrogates him with his physic demon servant, Satori. Learning he was sent to spy on Mabel, whom the demons also believe to be the hero from her birth date and red hair. After letting Satori eat the spy alive, Seika is left confused. Ami is undoubtedly the hero, so he suspects Mabel is the center of a conspiracy to make her appear to be a hero, attracting the demon's attention away from Ami. Kyle wins his next match with another miraculous killing. The young knight, Reincornates, becomes popular with the audience. Mabel wants Seika she absolutely must win in the tournament, so he must forfeit or she will have to kill him in the semi-finals. Kyle almost kills Reincornates but is stopped by judges who declare Kyle the winner just in time. Seika notices that Kyle uses gravity magic just like Mabel. That night, Mabel attacks Seika in his room and flees after failing to kill him. Intrigued, Seika chases her. Seika deduces Mabel was just trying to injure him enough he forfeited the tournament. Mabel confirms she and Kyle are slave soldiers from the Merchant Association, who ordered Mabel to let Kyle kill her, letting the demons believe the hero had died while also demonstrating Kyle's value. During his training, his brain was engraved with magic to make him a perfect soldier, and if he kills the hero, he will provoke his value. Seika deduces Mabel is Kyle's sister, having dyed her hair to pose as a hero, and she actually intends to kill Kyle to end his suffering, deciding he can't let Mabel kill her own brother. Seika defeats Mabel in their match and then afterwards defeats Kyle, who asks Seika for Mabel's forgiveness. But a curse from the merchants kills Kyle for his failure. After Kyle's funeral, Seika convinces Mabel to attend the academy as a real student. Seika congratulates the principal for her scheme, knowing Seika would win, thus depriving the merchants of Kyle and gaining Mabel as a powerful student. Mabel returns to her original silver hair, but is horrified by Seika and Yifa's sadistic tutoring to make up for being a whole year behind her classmates. Seika is asked to investigate in the strange behavior of the neighbor Astelia's kingdom's guardian dragon, which has protected Astelia since a past queen helped rise it. Astelia's prince Cecilia, who is rather airheaded, is entranced by Yifa and wants her to join his kingdom's harem. Seika decides to let Yifa choose on her own, since joining a royal harem is a rare honor. Arriving in Astelia, the dragon attacks their carriage, but is driven away by Zect, an arrogant mage mercenary Cecilia hired. Seika scolds Yifa for freezing during the attack when she is capable of defending herself. After investigating Astelia's royal library, Seika learns the dragon became violent once before, when he and his wife had a baby, which doesn't explain his current violence, since his wife died decades ago. That night, Cecilia summons Yifa to his room, but she refuses and sleeps in Seika's bed. Too scared to be alone, she feels worse when Seika reminds her that harem might be good for her future, even though she is clearly in love with Seika. Cecilia resorts to offering to buy Yifa as she is technically a slave, but Seika refuses. Seika decides to visit the dragon nest himself. Cecilia's elf attendant, Pleas, reveals to Yifa she must have an elf ancestors to use spirit magic. Seika finds the dragon is violent due to having an egg, having become female after his wife's death. Pleas shows Yifa the harem is actually a university for young ladies. One may become queen one day, but most become government officials. The dragon lets Seika help care for the egg. Yifa decides to remain with Seika, but Cecilia tries to force Yifa to sign all the legal papers, assuming he can just pay Seika for her later. Seika suddenly appears with a dragon and rescues her. Yifa helps Seika capture Zect, who tried to steal the egg to sell it. Cecilia decides to have the dragon killed anyway, hoping such a bold decision will strengthen his chance of becoming a king. Seika thoroughly scolds him over his treatment of Yifa. Lies actually agrees and apologizes to Seika and Yifa. Cecilia is ashamed and lets the dragon leave. Life gifts Yifa several light spirits that provide healing magic. They return to the academy, but elsewhere a team of 5 powerful demons set out to finally kill the hero. Seika's father asks to meet Amu. Seika is certain politics involved. Gray reveals he loves it in the army, but still demands to rematch with Seika. Amu duels Gray instead, but Gray wins by a trick. Gray introduces Fiona, the kingdom's holy princess. Seika is again worried about politics, as Fiona is daughter to Emperor and his mistress, the Oracle Priestess. Seika realizes Fiona resembles his wife from his past life. Seika is actually surprised his stepmother, who ignored him whole life, asks him to stay in touch. Amu asks Seika about his plans after graduation, and is surprised he intends to go adventuring with her. Fiona visits the nearby town and is curious about romance, holding Seika's hand all day. Fiona is almost hurt by falling timber, but is saved by Gray and Amu, though she seems upset Seika did nothing. Gray reveals to Seika that Fiona is a shrewd politician, who inherited her mother's magic to see glimpses of the future. Despite being child of a mistress, she has schemed her way into becoming a royal heir, and may become empress one day. She's also plotting something that involves both Amu and Seika. Seika avoids Fiona, cautious that her future vision may cause problems. Later, he relents and plays chess with Fiona, who wins even though she willingly played with fewer pieces, and as a prize asks Seika for a future favor. From her playstyle, Seika learns she doesn't support the current political system and is purposely making herself popular with the general public. Seika decides to support her. Elsewhere, the demons defeat a group of bandits and eat them, revealing their identities. Zor, the devil god, Mudarev, the strongest ogre, Loni, the monster tamer, Perslavia, the evil eye, and Golganis, the devil. When they are returned to the academy, assassins disguised as bandits attack the carriage to kill Fiona. But with Seika's assistance, the assassins are captured alive. Assassins await help from their reinforcers, but Fiona had foreseen the reinforcements being eaten by demons. Fiona arrives home and cryptically asks Seika to remember, no matter her actions, she is always on his side. Zor regrets having to hide from his team. Their goal of killing the hero is almost certainly a suicide mission. Principal elects Seika as student representative to welcome the next first-year students. Seika decides to abandon his fear of drawing attention. The demons arrive to the academy to slaughter the hero, to find the academy covered in a confusing red fog. Zor decides to abandon the mission only for Seika to appear. Zor, who can see people's power, is terrified by Seika, who beheads Mudaro. Perslavia, Evil Eye, is defeated by demon servant White Snake, whose own evil eye stops her heart. Oni attempts to tame White Snake, but is eaten. Zor reveals Seika bears the title Most Terrible Demon King, hoping Golgains will escape. To tell the other demons, the Prahazite Demon King is an ally of humanity. Zor is obliterated by Seika's fire magic, and Golgains teleports away, but dies when Seika uses a substitution talisman to stab him through the heart. Mabel, who saw everything, promises Seika she will keep it in secret. At the ceremony to welcome new students, the Direct Knights of Mercus Gravel announce Amu is under arrest for murdering a demon emissary, who at the time of his death was visiting the academy under diplomatic immunity. Seika advises Amu to submit to imprisonment temporarily. Principal confirms politicians likely want the hero gone. Seika invades the imperial prison, slaughters the soldiers, and finds Amu. Amu naively believes her innocence would be proven, so Seika reveals to her she is a hero, so her innocence is irrelevant, as her enemies will kill her regardless. Gray and Fiona appear and admit to plotting Amu's death. Humans and demons are currently in a stalemate, so existence of a hero could restart the war, so it is better for Amu to die. However, due to Seika protecting her, Amu has not yet to unlock her hero abilities, so Fiona offers to return them to Academy. Seika realizes this was what Fiona had clearly planned all along and never intended Amu to be killed, so he decides they will leave the Academy and go far away instead. Amu regrets not returning to the Academy, but looks forward to starting their careers as adventurers. Seika revives everybody he killed, while everyone else were shocked from his power. Ona talks with an entity hiding in her shadow, revealing she knows Seika is the Demon King, and will give his life to protect the hero. She also arranged for Yifa and Mabel to join Seika and Amu, and begin adventuring as a team.